War of Will, a legacy greater than victory. Time has a way of softening the noise of the crowd, but it never erases truth. Long after the Triple Crown season ended, long after headlines moved on, War of Will's story continued to live quietly, deeply, and powerfully. He was no longer just the horse who won the Preakness. He had become a symbol. Back at the training grounds, mornings were calm. Mist floated above the track as hooves pressed gently into the dirt. War of Will moved with maturity now, not rushed, not tense. He carried himself like a horse who had seen the worst and survived it. Experience had replaced urgency. The scars from the Kentucky Derby were no longer visible, but the memory remained not as fear, but as wisdom. Horses don't forget, yet they don't dwell either. They move forward, carrying lessons in silence. As War of Will continued his racing career, wins and losses came and went, but something had changed in how people watched him. Every time he entered the gate, there was respect. Every stride carried meaning beyond numbers on a board. Fans didn't just cheer for victory anymore. They cheered for courage. Trainer Marky Cass often spoke about how War of Will had changed his stable. Younger horses seemed calmer around him. He became a quiet leader not through dominance, but through presence. Horses feel energy, and War of Will carried calm strength. Children visited the barns and asked about him. Not because of his trophies, but because they had heard his story. Parents pointed and said, "That's the horse who didn't give up," and that was enough. In a sport often criticized for speed over soul, War of Will reminded the world that heart still mattered, that horses were not machines, they were partners. Athletes with emotion, memory, and spirit. Eventually, racing slowed. The seasons changed. Fresh horses arrived. But legends don't fade when they stop running, they evolve. War of Will's legacy was never about perfection. It was about resilience. About standing up when the world expects you to stay down. About answering pain with purpose. The Preakness win would always be recorded in history books. But his true victory lived elsewhere, in the people he inspired, the conversations he changed, and the respect he earned. When War of Will finally stepped away from the roar of the track, he did so with dignity, no unfinished business. No questions left unanswered. He had already proven everything that mattered. Because greatness isn't measured only by how fast you run, but by how deeply your story stays with others. War of Will didn't just race, he taught. And long after the dust settled, his lesson remained clear. You are not defined by your fall. You are defined by your rise.